Okay, we are down on the Muck. Let's just say I don't have super high hopes. I don't think it's going to be atrocious. It might be. It's definitely not going to be as bad as, or as good as it has been the past couple of years. After I got it side dressed, and then we got that big 6 inches of rain, this poor stuff sat down here waterlogged for damn near 2 full weeks. I mean, you could drive down the road and look down the rows and just see water. And the way this ridges when you plant it, all the water was laying right on the road. It was nasty looking. It got short, it stunted, it had a bad case of the up downs going on. Lots of nitrogen leaching, obviously, because it was waterlogged. The only way you might have been able to save it was to go back in with a Haggy and Y-drop it, but at that point there was so much damage done to it, and it was continued to stay wet for like another month after that. It was like, would you honestly see any economic benefit from throwing more nitrogen at it? Or would you just been throwing good money for bad? The only thing I could think of that might have helped a little bit was if I had used urea instead of 28. That way it wasn't automatically in a solution, and it would have needed the water to get into soil solution. But yeah, so I guess we'll see how it turns out. There are ears on it, so that's good. And I must be finally making a little bit of headway on the ragweed infestation down here, because it only got sprayed once and then it got too wet to hit it again. And it really honestly isn't all that terrible. I expected to come down here and see a ragweed taller than the corn, and it's not. There's this patch here, but I think we're finally making strides in that, so at least that's good. But anyway, I guess we'll see how it turns out, huh? Guys here next to me probably had the right idea. They didn't even screw with it. They just took their prevent plant and let it lay. I'll be happy. I don't think that's too far out of the cards, so but you'll see when we get over there, there's a big spot over behind the house that is actually the wettest spot in this particular field. There's not even any corn in it. Once it got wet and laid there, that poor stuff just gave up the ghost and died and laid down. I don't know if there's any more out here like that or not. Peeled off real quick, so we got to spark the truck. this is all flood damage, which I've had that in here before. Never to this extent, but for tomorrow. You get out of the wet spots and this corn is fairly respectable. It just, there's too much wet ground. This feels like it, the front half of this is wet, and it kind of cuts through it like an angle from behind the house to within about 50 yards of the ditch back here, and that whole corner up there has got a lot of wet holes in it, and then this back corner on this side's not too bad, but it's too early to tell how it's going to do, so I'm not going to make any speculations quite yet. But anyhow, we're going to get this thing filled up and call it a night, since I've only got one truck, and we will catch you guys tomorrow to keep on keeping on. Okay, it's Friday. We're back on the muck. Unfortunately, Dad's truck is still down. When I called him before I came down here, he was sitting at the tire shop waiting for him to get done fixing it, and then he was going to come back and put that on, but the elevator's only open till 6. It's a little after. It's 4:45 now. So he's not going to get the tire back on in time to get it back down there. I'm going to try to get one load filled up and down there before they close. And then I'll be able to get back and fill my truck again, so I'll at least have 3 loads pulled off of here. I've got a buddy bringing a semi tomorrow to help down here because they changed the forecast for, gotta get my key, for Sunday. So they basically took the rain out. It went from 100% chance to a slight chance. So with any luck at all, if I can get done down here tomorrow, the whole thing, both fields, the last 14 acres shouldn't be too hard to knock out Sunday if I can get Dad to drive truck for me, and then we'll be done. So that's the plan. Old girl not gonna be happy with me. It got chilly last night, and it's, as you can see, hasn't really been all that pleasant today. Let her warm up, and then we'll get to moving. truckload. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera. Somebody's shelling corn over there. You can hear the cobs going through the chopper. I do like that sound. I don't know why, but corn cobs going through a chopper on a combine is just a satisfying sound. So, unfortunately, this stuff is a tad bit wet. It's that first load I pulled off last night was 17.6. Whoops, got a little carried away there. You can tell it's stacking a little bit different, but that's still not too terrible. Well, I don't know how he managed to do it, but I just passed Dad on his way out, so he got that load of corn dumped. How he managed to get back from where he was, get that tire on, get down here and get it dumped in that short amount of time, I don't know, but he did it. So now I guess we can go back and load 2 trucks. I'm curious to see, and everybody at work's been debating whether or not they're actually going to get that corn pile filled, because I'll bet this weekend there's probably going to be a lot of guys pushed to finish up before that rain gets here, and they probably still got 750,000 worth of storage to get in there, because they just passed 1 million at the beginning of this week, and that's 2 million bushel pile. So we don't know if they're even going to fill it. It'll be interesting. Okay, that's 621 bushel so far, plus whatever's still in the hopper on this thing. Still too early to tell exactly how well it's running, but I don't think it'll do too terrible. Headlights on for about the last 45 minutes, so he definitely lost the headlight game. Like, he wasn't even in the running. Amateur. Compared to how the day started. Beautiful sky. guys can't see it, it's dark by now, but grab my key here. Both trucks loaded, combines loaded. All the short rows on this field are done. It's off because normally on those short rows in a normal year I can go down, I can back down a round and a half, and I got a hopper, and this time I could basically make the 2 full rounds when I got a hopper. So we're off by a little bit, but that's to be expected. So anyhow, I'm gonna get back home, and we got semi showing up in the morning, and the rest of this field should fit in the semi, and then move down to grandma's and start on that. So should have no problem whatsoever getting done in the daylight tomorrow. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hey, it's about 7:45 Saturday morning. Just rolled in down here to the elevator. I'm the first one in line. I was not expecting that. Gonna have to hold off on getting going on shelling. I don't know if you can, oh yeah, you can definitely tell, see how white the grass is. We got one heck of a frost last night. Like, this is probably our first good, like, actual killing frost. And I don't feel like having a solid sieves out on the combine, so we're just gonna wait till this burns off. Better safe than sorry, because nothing can ruin a day like throwing all your corn out the back of the machine. So I'm gonna get my truck empty and go back and get Dad's truck, get that empty, and possibly see if Nick just wants to run the semi down to the field and park it. That way he's not waiting on me to get going. So we'll see how things play out. Okay, we're down here. The dew's burn, not the dew, yeah, frost is pretty much melted off. I'm sure the corn's still gonna be tough, but we'll just take her a little slow to get moving. Get the combine warming up. Nick's on his way with the semi. I'm gonna go grab some paper towels and wipe my windshield off. Oh, I need my key. Just got off the phone with my old boss. He called me and talked to him for a minute. I'm definitely not the only one that had deer damage. He had it just as bad or worse than I did in some spots. That's why I gotta laugh. You get all the people that just hate my guts and they come on here and find every little thing to criticize, and they make it sound like I'm doing something wrong. Nah, it's not just me. You can think what you want, but this is straight from the DNR. They handed out a record number of, I believe the actual technical term is a defamation permit or something like that, but block permit, whatever you want, whatever your state calls it, where you can just go out and cull the herd, stop deer damage. And yeah, they handed out a record number of those in our county this year. It was not just me. It was nothing I did wrong. It's not just my ground, although my ground, because of where some of it is at, is a little bit more susceptible, but that's also half the ground in Michigan because we farm the high spots in between swamps. So it was everybody this year, not just me. Then you compound that on top of the drought, everything else that happened. It's just been a tough year and everybody's feeling it. So say what you want, you're probably wrong about it. Ooh, angry girl. And I'm curious to see if I probably, unfortunately, won't get any on camera today, because you never know when they're gonna do it, but get over here so you can see over top of the corn. You see that line of cars lined up down there? I found this out a couple years ago. That's actually a model rocket club. They go down there, they got an electronic launch pad and everything. They fire model rockets out here because they're easy to find when everything's off because it's so flat. So they'll probably be launching some off here today. So anyhow, while we're waiting for Nick and this thing's warming up, I'm gonna clean my windows off real quick since they're kind of dirty, and we'll get after it. See how tough this stuff is this morning. And we're off to the races. So this should all, well, I know this will all fit on a semi. We can haul this down, and then I'm gonna grab my truck and we're gonna go down and start opening up Grandma's field. Dad's taking his truck back home because I guess I should have told him to just stay home because I wasn't planning on having him here yesterday or today. But I'm guessing down there a semi, my truck, and then probably another partial on my truck or Dad's truck will lick that if it runs about $1.50. So hopefully it runs that. But it could be worse because Brian's muck, Kyle was telling me that ran about 80, so it definitely could be worse. I gotta give this hybrid some credit. You get into this wet hole right here and it gets really short and really stunted, and then you get to spots like this. And if I get the head low enough to pick them up, which is kind of hard, there's still ears on these little sawed off stalks here. It's just getting to them that's the problem. So it was trying really hard despite all the stress it was going through, which is pretty impressive, at least in my opinion. Alright, this field's done. That was disappointing. I was really hoping there's going to be more in these long rows, but this wet spot here in the center was a lot bigger than I initially thought it was, and that made a pretty big dent in how things turned out. But I guess we'll see. Okay, we're opening up Grandma's. Nick, go ahead and dump that load and just take the truck home. If that's all the better, then this ground down here is gonna run. And I can handle this field. There's probably only 5 loads out here, maybe 6. This field might run a little better because it's a little drier, but we'll find out, I guess. For everybody down here. The neighbors just showed up. Don't mind us. everything would have been yielding like this right in here. This is like a high hump between their field and the rest of mine. This didn't get drowned out or really have any water issues. I bet this stuff's running 200 plus. Because she's swallowing hard. And then you get on the other side of it, you can see where it dips down, then it's all crap from that side on. But you can see right there. Dry, 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 wet. Gonna hurt. It's a lot bigger than I expected it to be, and a deer just walked into the rows up here. It starts to get better where I split the field here, but on that side it's pretty bad. There's two of them up here, you little furry bastards. That's right, I'm taking away your buffet, little assholes. Yeah, this is painful. Oh shit. Oopsie. muck's done. I guess we'll see how well we did. I know that both fields were north of 100 bushel an acre. How far north of 100 they went. So we'll be able to tell you here in a minute. But I think my side's yielding better than the neighbor's side, because unless they were parking trucks down on the other side of the field too, which I'm not 100% sure you can get to that field from the next road down. Maybe you can, but so far they have only pulled one semi off of that field with everything they've shelled. So anyhow, I'm gonna haul this in and get some stuff shuffled around. We'll get some yield and go from there. Okay, real quick to wrap up here. South field that we started on went 138.2. 1,800 bushel off of 13.1 acres, and then the north field, the one that we just ended up on, went 141.5. 1,515 bushels off of 10.7 acres. So not as good as I was hoping for 150, but it was better than my fear, because the way it looked, I thought it was going to be like 100 bushel or less. So I will take that. I don't think I'm doing any worse than those guys that were shelling corn today next to me, and they got a lot fancier stuff than I do. So 'tis the year. But the grain quality was excellent. Test weight was still excellent. Moisture was, I think both fields average out like mid 17s on the moisture. Can't really knock it too hard. It's that hybrid was trying very, very. If you guys, I should have went down there and got video of it, like end of July, beginning of August. It was like 4 different shades of yellow and short and stunted, and the fact that it did that good is honestly kind of impressive, the way it looked in that last about 2.5 months of the growing season. So don't know, you probably could have went through a little bit of nitrogen at it again, but 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It may or may not have paid off to do it. You never know, especially once we got dry again there, really dry. So tis the way the season went. That's the best way you can put it. So anyhow, we're going to go down and get the combine, get it blown off, get it brought home, service it, and hopefully get back to shelling and get the last field here opened up yet today. So, but that's going to be a different video to wrap up the season. So with that being said, that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.